Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the cycles of mankind. And when I talk about the cycles of mankind, I'm basically looking at the cycle of precession. So what we're talking about is the precession of the equinoxes. And precession is that we go through this cycle where the zodiac actually moves very slowly, and over the course of 26,000 years, this whole precessional cycle will go through all 12 of the zodiacal signs. So let me talk about how this works. It's kind of a hard concept to visualize, but as we gauge what signs the planets are transiting, where they are in a birth chart and where they're constantly moving, our planets of our solar system are constantly moving, but they move across the backdrop of the stars. And the stars are what constitutes the signs, the placements of the stars. So it's like when you look at the constellation of Leo, there's going to be specific stars in that constellation, such as the fixed star Regulus is the heart of the lion. As you see, all the zodiacal signs and all of these stars, this is what appears in our lifetime to be fixed. So we call these stars fixed stars. But in reality, these stars are what constitute the constellations of the skies, the heavens, and it's moving. But it moves so slow that we cannot even see the movement in a lifetime, because this whole zodiacal ring that is moving with the stars moves 1 degree backwards in the zodiac every 72 years. So in a lifetime, it doesn't appear like they move, but they are moving. So over the course of 26,000 years, 26,000 years, this whole zodiacal ring will go through all 12 signs. But one of the zodiacal signs from beginning to end takes approximately 2,400 years. So here's how it works. And this is why Vedic astrology is true to the stars. Because Vedic astrology, which is based on the sidereal system, or you can just call it sidereal astrology. Sidereal means star. So it's based on the movement of these stars that we look at where the beginning of the zodiac is. Because Western astrology, using the tropical system, is based on the seasons and the sun cycle as it denotes the seasonal changes. But sidereal astrology is based on the stars and the fact that they are moving. So 2,000 years ago was the beginning of the Piscean age, which we are currently in right now. So starting 2,000 years ago, it was considered the darkest time in humanity, the darkest, deepest, darkest time. And if you consider this, what happened about 2,000 years ago? Well, it is in the Christian texts that this was the coming of Christ. So this was the birth of Christ. And this was 2,000 years ago. And because of the beginning of Christ, the birth of Christ, we have the Piscean age that began. Many say that Jesus was a Pisces. And looking at this, when you go back to 2,000 years ago, it was very dark. There was a very low consciousness. But what came out of the Piscean age? Churches, Christianity, all sorts of religions. And if you consider the symbol for Pisces, which the age that we're currently in, symbol is a fish. What is the symbol for Christianity? A fish. So you can see how this is all relative. And what I find fascinating is at one point I was in a museum in Athens in Greece, and I noticed that there were statues that predated the 2,000-year mark, which was way before. Way before you could see all of these statues that were rams. And this was a time of extreme war and violence on the planet because Aries is considered a warlike sign. It's ruled by Mars. But you can see that during that whole period, that whole era, they had rams depicted on their shields that they used in war. And there was many statues of the ram. But I actually found some statues that predated this 2,400-year cycle BC that predated the age of Aries. Remember, that would be about 5,000 years ago that there was some Greek statues in this museum, and they looked so peaceful. They had their locks of curly hair, and they stood with peace and grace and artistry. And they had many cows. And this was the symbol for the Taurus age. And so the Taurus age predated back before the age of Aries. And you can definitely see in their artifacts, in their symbols, in their statues, the peace that would have evolved out of a peaceful time when it was the age of Taurus. So the age of Taurus, then we came to the age of Aries, now we're in the age of Pisces. Remember that it goes backwards in the zodiac. And so at this point in time, as of 2,000 years ago, with the precessional rate moving 1 degree every 72 years backwards in the zodiac, the starting reference point now for the sidereal system of astrology is about 6 degrees of Pisces. So if you consider we have 6 degrees left to go in the sign of Pisces before we enter into the age of Aquarius. So if you go consider what is approximately 6 degrees times 72, that's how many years it's going to take before we leave the age of Pisces and enter into the age of Aquarius. So what is that about? 430 years approximately, give or take. This is not exact. So when we reach the beginning of the age of Aquarius, it will begin at the 29-degree mark, because when it enters into a sign, it always enters into the last degree and then moves down. So it will enter into 29, 28, 27, 26, and this whole cycle will take another 2,400 years, approximately. So what's so interesting is that we have made so much progress in this age of Pisces, and we're not quite into the age of Aquarius, because Aquarius is the age of electronics. It's affiliated with new beginnings, new humanity, where it comes together with a peacefulness, instead of the Pisces age being so much about beliefs. Because you see, it rules spirituality, beliefs, things that we can't prove, and uncertainty. So in the age of Pisces, religion is the most important thing that's being come out of this, being built. And people, I believe the age for Pisces, or the saying for Pisces is, I believe. So people are in this place of, what do I believe? What is the truth? What is the truth about religion, spirituality, God? And that's what all the wars are about right now, because that's the most important feature of this age, to come to understand and to know what we believe. And we have no proof because it's what we believe. It's not fact, but guess what the age of Aquarius is? I know. And so as we come into the age of Aquarius, we come into a knowingness of knowledge, wisdom, and technology. All of these things, we have no idea where this world is headed from the age of Pisces beyond the next 400 years or so, till we get into the age of Aquarius, when everything will be so futuristic, we can't even fathom where this humanity and ages are going. But right now, it's all about our belief system. What do you believe? Why do you believe this? And having faith. Because when you come from a place where you have absolutely no certainty, you got to have faith in what you believe in. Because no one has proof. But in the age of Aquarius, there will be nothing but proof. So there will be no question. It's not about what you believe. It's that I know. And that's where this whole age of humanity is headed. But at this time, it is a very beautiful spiritual time because we come from a place of the imagination and belief systems and faith and love. Because Pisces is probably the most compassionate sign of the zodiac. And I believe that in the age of Pisces, where we are currently right now, that it's all about coming together with compassion and love. And that is the key to this age. But continuing on, the whole cycle of precession works where the darkest age was 2,000 years ago. And the age where we come to enlightenment is going to be exactly opposite. So it's kind of a circular motion that it evolves to the highest point potential of awareness for humanity on Earth. And that is the half cycle of the 26,000 year cycle. So approximately 13,000 years from the darkest age comes to the light age of awareness. And then it cycles back to unconsciousness again. So it comes to a peak. So in other words, if the darkest age was 2,000 years ago, and it takes from that point approximately 12 to 13,000 years to come to the point of evolution and enlightenment on this planet, or awareness, that we have about another 10,000 or 11,000 years to go to come to that point of highest consciousness. And I find it fascinating that that point of highest consciousness on planet Earth evolves to this point that's opposite of the Aries, which could come to opposite the Libra point. And I'm not 100%, no one is, about what sign it's going to be in, but it is about 10 to 11,000 years from now. And the closest we come to the galactic center is the point of higher awareness on the planet, because out of the galactic center comes God consciousness. And that is where we'll be closest to the galactic center. So that is what I wanted to talk about today, where we are in the evolution of precession, and that this is based on the beginning starting point of the zodiac for sidereal Vedic astrologers is around 6 degrees of Pisces. And that is why when you look at a chart from a Western perspective, which they use 0 Aries as the beginning starting point of the zodiac, and it doesn't move from there, that it has separated because 2,000 years ago, the zodiacs lined up. So the beginning point was Aries, even for sidereal astrology. But as the stars and precession moved away at this point in time, Your planets and placements from your tropical chart will have moved backwards almost 24 degrees in the zodiac. And that puts our zodiac at about 6 degrees of Pisces. So it will continue to move. And over a period of time, every 72 years, it moves backwards 1 more degree in the zodiac. So that's how precession works, and it does dictate what goes on in the realm of consciousness awareness of humanity. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.